Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston Station, we are ready.
European Space Agency, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check. European Space Agency, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check. European Space Agency, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Jules Grandsire from PAO here in Vorbelin. How do you hear me? And this is Jules Grandsire from PAO here in Vorbelin. How?
Yes, Jules is at PAO. This is Station. I hear you. Okay, there's a lot of echo, but I hear you. How do you hear me?
Bonjour Thomas, on t'entend très bien ici, donc on va essayer quand même de le faire avec l'écho qu'il y a. On a beaucoup d'enfants, beaucoup d'élus ici à Vaux-en-Velin Planétarium qui sont prêts à te poser leurs questions. Et je passe tout d'abord la parole au président de la République, François Hollande. Thomas Pesquet, je suis heureux de vous retrouver. La dernière fois, c'était à l'Élysée. Aujourd'hui, c'est à Vaux-en-Velin, une ville pleine de force, de réussite et d'espoir, et qui est très fière de pouvoir.
We're very proud to be able to establish a connection with you. I imagine that you could, in any case.
Oui,
yes, we are flying over all of France.
Par passage, en fait,
but as we pass along, I've taken many photographs. I will try to take a few more and to center my photographing. It's not as easy sometimes as it could be. I'll try again to make even nicer photographs.
Alors à Vaux-en-Velin, j'ai inauguré la pose de la première pierre d'une école.
Well, in your name, I have set the first stone of a new school. Your message from the heavens is one that is eagerly awaited by us. And we are happy to be able to find you connected to every part of the world. Well, it will be great pleasure. But for all of the French schools, I hope that this adventure, technological adventure, is not from an egotistical standpoint, but I've done it a little bit for everybody to help move progress along on behalf of France. You can see that I have my flag here. Last time I was at the Élysée Palace, I brought it to you, and I will bring this as well. And this adventure also is to help the young dream and to search for scientific and technical vocations, to inspire the youth. Well, for the we are here at the planetarium with an astrophysicist who is next to me. She's a lady, and we have with us the young, the youth. I know that they're full of questions because you're bringing to them knowledge to all of humanity, which you have imparted to us ever since you've been up there. And many of our compatriots have eagerly kept up with you, and also for humanity, for the world at large. And so you can see very clearly from up there where you are that the planet must be protected. There are many questions that have been prepared to present to you. I have one more comment I'd like to make, and I await you at the Élysée Palace. But in any case, you'll be meeting the next president, and I look forward to meeting you. Thank you very much.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. It's an honor.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. It's an honor. Hello, Thomas. This is Union. I'd like to have prepared for you a question for you.
Lors de votre première
well, the first,
avez-vous eu le vertige?
Do you feel a sense of vertigo up there?
Pardon, j'ai pas entendu la question.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question. Could you repeat it, please?
Lors de votre première sortie extravéhiculaire.
From your first extravehicular a sortie out of the, did you feel a sense of vertigo up there? It's a very good question. Listen, no, I didn't feel vertigo because my brain was accustomed to it. I was accustomed to the idea that I wasn't going to fall. You see, I can hitch myself up to the ceiling, and I understood that it would work well, that there would be no falling, and so that's what happened outside of the Space Center. But the other things that I am afraid of, and that's losing my tools, not to be able to fulfill the stage of the tasks that are given to me, and so I need to concentrate. You see, I can see my feet beneath me, 450 kilometers of emptiness of space. It was such a super feeling. I took photographs. Here's Thomas would like to pose you a question.
Je suis élue de la classe pour vous poser une question.
I'd like to ask you a question. My question is,
est-ce que vous avez goûté les plantes comestibles que vous faites pousser dans l'espace?
I'm sorry, once again, I could not understand. The sound is very poor. Could you repeat your question, please?
Bonjour Thomas Pesquet.
Hello, Thomas.
J'étais élue de la classe pour vous poser.
This is Elie from the class to represent our school. My question is,
est-ce que vous avez goûté les plantes comestibles que vous faites pousser dans l'espace?
do you have something that can protect you in space?
Oh,
do you have edible plants that you can eat, that you can grow? Yes, we grow plants to see how they will function in space so that we can educate scientific people on Earth, scientists on Earth. But, you know, we eat whatever we can. We don't have a lot of fresh food. Most of what we have is in cans. So every Friday we harvest our salad. We get together and we prepare a dinner all together with our international team or initial. Every Friday we prepare a salad. And then, of course, we eat the rest of the food that we have on hand. It was sort of make a feast out of it because salad is sort of not an ordinary thing, but we do get to eat it once in a while. It's very good. Hello, this is Janet. Thomas will pose a question to you.
Est-ce qu'en plus d'observer la Terre, vous avez l'occasion d'observer les étoiles?
Have you been able to, you can see the land, but can you also see the stars? Yes, we observe the stars. We observe the stars, but you know the Space Station has a lot of windows which look down toward Earth. There are not many that look upwards toward the stars. We have instruments for that. We have spectrometers which look toward the stars, but we look to the land a little bit. At night, however, we do observe the stars, and we can see them going by very quickly. We see very luminous, very brilliant points that are the stars. There's no pollution that keeps us from seeing the stars really brightly. And so we're able to read the constellations. But it's not like on Earth. We don't have a lot of time because it goes by very quickly. Evidently, it's one of the most beautiful things that you can see. You can imagine how the stars are suspended on the firmament of space. But, of course, the Earth is much more beautiful because it's much more varied. There are many more colors, more forms, the blue of the oceans, the mountains, etc. And so if I had to choose, I'd rather look at the land, or I'd rather look at Earth. We have a question for you. Can you see the colors of the stars? I'm sorry, I didn't understand or didn't hear the question, rather. It makes me feel... There was a question about stars, but I didn't really understand the specifics. The question about the stars, let me repeat it. The question was, can you see the stars better from the space station? Can you see the colors of the stars better from the space station? The colors, yes, we can see many more colors in the stars. We see the colors in the stars. We have nuances of blue and red. And so you have to become accustomed to, you have to accustom your vision to being able to, especially when you're in the cupola, to be able to discern the different stars' colors. And so then we begin to distinguish the differences among the statues, the stars, the biggest, the smallest, the colors. I can imagine that through the spectrometer you can see even better. But in any case, we can see it much more clearly than you can on land, unless, of course, you're in a planetarium or an observatory on Earth. I would like to present to you one of the children who wants to ask you a question.
Est-ce que des débris heurtent la station? Les entendez-vous? Les débris. Les débris.
Est-ce qu'on est touché par des débris?
Are we hit by debris here in space? Listen, the station is very well protected and armored against debris, against small debris. Against major debris, we have to maneuver to move the station to avoid the larger debris. We are very seldom touched by debris, happily. We can hear them go by, but we can see them from the window of the cupola, through which we observe the Earth. It'll make a small impact, like, for example, when you have a little bit of gravel hitting the windshield of a car. But happily, we have very resistant windows. It does make you think and worry a little bit. It's a problem that we have to fight against. And the Space Agency has projects to clean up the space of space debris. To clean the space of space debris. Another question?
En quoi une sortie dans l'espace est différente d'un entraînement en piscine?
How is your experience in space different from your training in the pool? Well, it's easier in space. It's normal because when we train, we make it very difficult so that for the day when we do it for real, it's going to be easier than it was in training. That's one difference. Another difference is that in the swimming pool is 10 meters deep, but you always have a floor beneath your feet, and it's not a different feeling. Whereas when you're out here, you don't have a floor. There's a difference between day and night, which we don't simulate in the swimming pool when we train in the diving suit. But of course, when you're out here, it's like somebody turns the light off. You can even get lost because it's complicated. It's a real labyrinth. It's a little bit strange out here. You have to be a little bit more careful because evidently in the pool we have divers who are out there to help us, and safety is much more easily afforded. Whereas when you're outside of the space station, nobody can come out to help you. So you really have to pay attention to what you do because your life is more at risk out here in space than when you're training, evidently. Another question? What you're doing up there stimulates people's dreams, but you have to study well to do it. Here's a young boy who has a question for you. Well, I think everything is done step-by-step basis. You cannot be discouraged by a path that seems very long. You have to do your best at school every day. You have to do your best in sports. You have to do your best to speak foreign languages. There are many things that are learned also outside of school. For example, to become an astronaut, my experience in sports, in music, my travels, all of this is, in the end, has helped me quite a bit. But I think you have to do all the things one by one. You must not say to yourself, well, there's 10 years ahead. It's going to be very difficult. I'll never get to the end of it. You have to tell yourself, what will I do this year that is well? What will I do next year? It's a construction. It's an edifice that you build. It's like a Lego construction, brick by brick. You mustn't look at the end, which shows you the constructed Lego structure. You have to begin from the beginning and then take it stage by stage. That's the way I did. I think it works well. This is what I advise to the youngest. And then everybody, all kinds of specialties are needed in space. There's not just astrophysicists and astronauts, but there are many other paths, professions that are interesting that contribute to the program.
Alors, il nous reste combien de temps de... Est-ce qu'un parent veut poser une question?
Here's a question for you.
Un autre élève.
From another student.
Quand vous faites du sport, vous êtes attaché?
When you are you?
Quand on sort de la station, on est attaché, c'est ça ta question?
Are we attached when we get out of the space station? Is that the question? When you leave the space station, are you still attached? Is that the question?
Alors la question à l'intérieur de la station orbitale.
Within the orbital space station, are you? Yes. When you leave, you are attached because you want to be sure that you don't drift away into space. Because I don't know if you've seen it, but you want to avoid that, evidently. We're always attached. We have like a sort of a spool that lets you out. That's attached to the space exit port. And of course, when we work in a certain space, you have to be attached with some sort of device, the way we might do when we're climbing a mountain. We attach ourselves sometimes by the feet. We put the feet on a platform, which allows you to work with two hands. There are many ways to attach yourself, but the rule is you must always be attached to the station at all times. If you ever were to be separated from the station, which has never happened, but we do have in our backpack a little sort of a scooter, space scooter, a little jetpack, which we deploy, and that with a joystick you can control it to pilot yourself to return to the station. But we only have enough fuel for one try, so the rule really is to never get unattached or disconnected.
Est-ce que vous avez envie d'aller sur la Lune?
When are you going to go onto the moon? I like the question is, when are you planning to go to the moon? Yes, we would like to. I would like to. We're a little bit, we're explorers in the space station. You know, we do a lot of scientific research with the hands of, we are the hands of the researchers who are on the Earth, and we then produce results for them to help them do their science. But we're also explorers on the other side. I see it in the profile of my colleagues. All of us would like to go. None of us has ever been to the moon. Certainly the moon will be a stage to learn how to get to Mars, and that what we all have in our heads is to go to Mars. There will be many difficulties to surmount. Certainly we work, all of the agencies are working on resolving these problems, and of course all the people who are still on Earth to assist us in these adventures. We learn a great deal about life. I hope that I'll be part of it, but if it's not me, then it's not a problem. It'll be maybe one of you. Maybe the person who goes to Mars is perhaps among you at school, maybe of your age. It's not important. What counts is that we do go in a great international adventure and that France is part of it. We have these questions that come to our minds. Where are we coming from? Where are we going? How does life created? How does it disappear? These are the questions that we'd like to address. Good morning. Here's a question from Marois here.
La première fois que vous étiez en apesanteur, vous vous sentiez différent?
Do you feel differently when you feel weight the first time?
C'est une bonne question.
It's a good question. Listen, the first time that I was in weight, it was in the Soyuz, you know, our vehicle that brought us to the space station, which is very small. So we were floating, but we didn't really get the feeling that when I was floating in a larger volume and arriving at the station, no, I didn't feel different. I wasn't ill. I was lucky. Some people would feel a little bit of illness because everything changes a little bit, like seasickness on a boat, for example. But I felt a little bit as if I wasn't quite, I felt a little bit uncoordinated. It's like riding a bike, learning to ride a bike. So we know how to walk and to run on Earth, but this is a little bit like learning how to ride a bike. I was a little bit sort of uncoordinated. Now I'm fully accustomed to it. It feels very natural, to the point that when I come back to Earth, I'll have to relearn a little bit when I get back how to move about on Earth, how to handle objects, because I've forgotten all of that. Now we have a way of doing things without, in a weightless environment. You can see that I let things go and it just stays there. On Earth, I'll have to learn to do things again if I don't want to cause damage. Good morning. The last question, it's from the parent of a student who has it for you. Hello, something.
Qu'est-ce qui me manque le plus?
What do I miss the most? There are two things, I think. One is people think about food. No, it's the food is varied. I don't need a lot of food anyway. But no, it's perhaps the freedom. The station is rather confined volume. It's we're lucky that it's as big as it is, but we can't go out and go to the forest or take a bike trip, go out to the mountains or the sea. I've always enjoyed doing that on Earth, and so I miss that a little bit. The second thing, evidently, is those who are near me, we can call each other, but it is 6 months of absence from those whom we love. And it's not just in the space station that this happens. There are people who work in submarines who have the same experience, to be far away from your family, your friends, those who are close and near and dear to you. I wish I could have brought them with me. That would have been super.
Je vous passe le maire de Vaux-en-Velin.
Well, we wish you all the very best. Here's another question. Thomas, thank you for your interconnection with us, interchange from space. Well, we certainly invite you to come to our planetarium when you come back. Thanks again. Thanks, and have a good day. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure to have all of you aboard the space station, and it will be a pleasure to come and meet all of you at the planetarium after I return to Earth.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you, President Hollande, and all participants with the European Space Agency. We are now resuming operational audio communications.